part 1 F150 dash removal. I removed the rubber all the way around the doors. I removed the trim plate. It just pops up. Pop the plastic off from over here out of the way. I get up underneath this with a finger and I kind of work my way around this and pop all that out. And there's tweeters on the bottom of the A-pillar, the trim pieces here. What holds that on is two 10 mil bolts. Some of the older ones were 8 or 7s. The newer style 2020 F150s are two 10 mils, one in each side. And it just basically slides right out of there. Anything specific here? I'm gonna have to undo some electrical connectors. When I do the seats on this 2020, it was 4 13mm bolts that hold it down, and then you got these little covers you got to pop out to get to those bolts. Once you get both seats out, remember when you go to pull the seats out, you got to pull the connectors to the bottom of the seat off. Pull your seats out. I set them back there on the back of the truck. And then you got this little center console piece, and there's some holes that go through the side of the center console slash seat, the middle seat, and you just take these 13mm screws out of the brackets. There's 2 on this side and there's 3 on the other side, and that just pulls right out of there. There's a piece of plastic trim that goes around the bottom underneath here, and it's got a 7mm screw. You can kind of see the little copper tab up underneath there. It's got a 7mm screw that goes this way in that tab. And just take that 7mm screw out, and then that plastic just pops off all the way around. It's only one little screw holding it in there. So that's how to get this side apart. Go over here to the other side. Same thing with the rubber around the door, the plastic, the kick panel. I pull it out of the way. Pull this stuff out of the way. Remember, on this side there's also a tweeter. So be careful not to rip that out of there if your truck has one. I went ahead and pulled the glove box out. So I dropped the glove box down, and then I snapped this retractor, or assist I should say. I snapped this out of the hole and just kind of push it off to the side. And then I pull these 2 plastic tabs. They go through on an angle down here, like so. I pop them out, that one out. And then I pull the glove box off, undo these 3 connectors right here inside the glove box, and then I go down here and I unplug all the connectors at the body control module, and then I will pull this through. You don't need to do this. This is just, actually no, you don't do that if I remember correctly. Actually, yeah, this is the newer style. You leave it hang inside there. You detach the pin from here. There's a little hole, and then there's another one up here. So I've just got a basic clip puller set from Snap-on. It doesn't have to be Snap-on, it could be any brand. Go to Harbor Freight and get it as well. And then I will work that clip out of there. Really, I'm pretty sure you can just undo those 3 connectors right down there. I'm pretty sure you can just undo the 3 connectors here, and then the 3 connectors down here, or 2 connectors I should say, and this whole harness will actually come with the dash. So really it's just these 3 and then these here, and then you pull the dash with the harness attached to it out, and then you may have to do some transferring on the outside if you're switching skins like I am, but that's it for that. So I actually didn't need to take these push pins actually out of here. They stay in. I'm just kind of remembering as I go. It's been a while. If I get stumped, I will go to the workshop manual, but I'm not there yet. I'm not stumped. So disregard taking those 2 out. Just unplug these 3 and unplug these 2 big ones. They go to that same harness, and then yeah, these I think you can leave these. You don't have to take these out. This connector here goes up on there's a material lower panel here that has a module on top of it, and that's where this goes. I'm pretty sure that's the blower motor resistor module, I think, anyway, if I remember correctly. No, it's not. That's down here. I don't remember what that. There's a little cover right that goes down underneath this, and this plugs into that. So when you pull that little cover off, be careful. So this is part one of prepping everything. Let's go over to the other side and see what connectors need to be taken off over there underneath the driver's side. The next thing is this lower panel has to be popped down, and basically you're gonna have to be a little aggressive with it, but it does just pop straight down. And then you got 2 screws here. They're 2 10 mils, and then you're probably gonna have to take this knee bolster off of here as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off real quick. So yeah, the knee bolster had to come off. 10 mils up here, 10 mils down there, and then it had these little push tabs. You gotta push together and then pop it out of there. Now you're gonna have to take this lower shroud off so you can get this shift cable off the bottom of this. And then once you get the shift cable off, it's just a screw that holds the bracket on, and then you just pop it off and just lay it down. Then you're gonna have to work on getting the carpet to roll back so you can get all this plastic ducting and stuff that's in here that runs underneath the carpet. It's a wishbone. It goes from that side up, and then here, all that's got to come out of there. And these are like 5.5 millimeter screws on the bottom of the shroud, just so you know. All right, you see I got the cable pulled off of there. It sits in there like so. There's an 8 mil bolt that holds it in, and it's got a tab on both sides. It's got a little, gotta be careful pulling this off or you'll break it. But there's a little tab right here, and there's a little tab on the other side. So you gotta pull this up, slide it out, pull the other side up, slide it out, work it out of the hole. So that's what I did. Now it's time to go into the next step, pulling the carpet back and getting this plastic ducting out of here. Okay, so it's pulled up. Little push tabs go into these holes. There's some little plastic clips on the top right here. You got to push in and pull this ducting off. It's just one screw on each side, and then those clips down there. There's some push tabs that hold the carpet down, so just pull up on the carpet. It'll pull the push tabs with it, or you can pull the push tabs out separate. It's up to you. So now I'm going to pull this ducting out of here. Now so this here has to come up. You're gonna have to pull this harness up, unbolt it from the floor, and then unbolt it from the center module right here. Okay, got the harness pulled back. There's a connector here, and a connector that ran across this and came up and went back behind. I actually unplugged one of the wrong ones that didn't need to be unplugged. This one can actually stay plugged in. On to the next step. Okay, so now we're gonna disconnect blower motor module, and then this here needs to come out. This is for the antenna. Gonna have to get a little pick and put in there probably. So this one and then the antenna wire need to come out. Just pull them out around this slot all the way down and just lay them down by the fuse box. Actually, I put those wires, that orange and white wire, back because that's for removing the HVAC. You don't have to do that. So now that side's done, the ducting's done, the carpet's up, the panels and stuff are off. There's a couple things left. The first thing is, you're gonna want to tape this. I disconnected negative battery. I did that first to even begin with. The battery needs to the negative battery cable, and then I put a piece of duct tape around this turn signal selector, or I'll wrap the wheel so it doesn't rotate and move. And then you have to get down here and pull this bolt. The bolt has to be pulled out of there so you can disconnect the steering selector upper from the lower. So when you go to pull your bolts here, 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 and then there's a bunch of bolts underneath the plastic cover on this side. I think there's one, and then over there under the plastic cover there's two, and then this whole thing's ready to start sliding out. Alright, so I pulled the little plastic panels off to dress up the front. As you can see, there are bolts in there. I recommend using a swivel and an extension and like maybe a 13mm, I think that's what those are, and putting like a rag on the backside, because you're going to be so close to the windshield you could smack the windshield and crack the windshield. Remember, windshields break really easy from the inside, but outside, because of how they're made, that's why it's hard to break a windshield from the outside. But the inside, you just barely tap and it'll shatter all the way across. So be very careful. Once you pull those bolts out on each side, and then you pull these bolts out, and then you pull the two bolts down here on the bottom, on this bracket down here on each side, this dash is ready to come right out of here in one piece. Let's do it. Okay, it's out. I did have to actually end up removing those two cables, and there's actually a bolt that goes through this that has to come out. And in this corner right here, there's a bolt buried beneath the foam.
Yeah, it's close enough, bro.
Just make sure you get this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, this bolt. There's one bolt in there. And then there's two bolts in that bracket, that hole. And here's the reason why we're changing it. It's all warped right in here.
I don't know if anybody's having a hard time.
Well, there it is. There's the new one. You look down the face of that and see how it's warped. It's warped right in there. It's bowed up. Let's look at the new one. It's more flat. Still got a little bit of a curve to it naturally. Let's look at the underlying area. There's really nothing there to stop it from warping, honestly. I mean, they build some ribbing and stuff to strengthen it, but there's absolutely zero there to stop it from warping. Now you got to tear everything apart on that dash. The cluster face and stuff off, the cluster out of it. You got to pull your panels and stuff off all the way down. Everything's got to come off that snaps into, so you can get to the screws that hold the skin on. Their airbag's got to come out. Everything's got to come out. So I'll swap that next. That's too much of a video for me not to have somebody videoing with me, but you can see the screw points on all the areas that you're going to have to remove stuff back in there. A lot of stuff's got to come off to get this skin completely apart, and this is all the way around. There's stuff hidden. That's how you pull a dash out of a 2020 F150 and pretty much any other F150 circa, I don't know, I'm going to say like 2012, 2013 on. So, I appreciate it, guys. Long video, I know, but thank you. Thank you for watching.